It ain't easy being a man these days. Hard to even say for sure what a man is. A provider, a lover, maybe even a hero. One thing's for sure. A journey towards being whatever a real man should be doesn't need to be done alone. The Gentlementor are here to help you navigate that, so you never have to go alone.
Which leads me to the thing I wanted to do a podcast tonight.
Oh, okay.
We
It's
don't
not
need
too
one.
late.
We've got
We
lots.
could. Okay. I was
No,
going to add, that was one of my things that I was going to ask you is what we've got and what kind of pressure do we have? But
none.
apparently we don't have
Zero.
any. Okay, great.
Yeah, we still got an easy month
Excellent.
of
Okay.
podcast before we have to produce it.
Because I've got some. Okay, good. Because I've got some notes and stuff, and I thought, well, I'll say this for tomorrow night. Blah blah blah.
This is
notes, but
part
we'll put it off next week. Go ahead.
Tomorrow we're putting out
Go.
part 4, which is still the first night we recorded. That's the last episode from the first night. So that's where we're at.
We did that many on the first night. Wow.
I think
Okay.
we did 3
All
or
right,
4.
that's great.
So
I'm glad.
I had
Okay. All right. So this might be something we bring up next week again.
Maybe this might be a podcast here. If we start this story right, we don't have an intro, but that's all right. I'm just going to tell you this because
I can do an intro right now. I can do one right now.
Go ahead.
You ready?
Sure.
Okay. Let's do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna set I have my timer all ready and everything. And I was like, as soon as he gives me a cue, I'm gonna be ready to go.
Cue.
Because I don't want to miss it. So anyway, all right. So here we go. All right, I'm starting the timer.
4,
Here we go.
3,
all right, I'm ready for your story.
2.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Gentlementor. We're so glad that you're here.
Yeah!
Thanks for joining us tonight. You have no idea. We have been talking for the past hour and a half
Warming
now,
up.
and we're
You stretch
finally
before you
getting
lift.
ready to
Stretch
warming up.
before you lift.
Warming up. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We're in training right now, and so we're stretching, getting ready, and so now it's podcast time. Hey, thanks for joining us, the Gentlementor. My name is Mark, and I'm here with my good friend, Dr. Doug, and we've just enjoyed a couple glasses of whiskey, so you have to forgive us. It
Dr.
might be a little bit. Dr. Booze.
I don't think
Might
so.
be a little bit crazy tonight, but hey, most importantly, this is about you. We're glad that you're here. Let us know, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. We've got some people that are reaching out to us and telling us that they love the new intro. We love that you love our new intro. I like it
Glad you
too.
man, that guy worked his butt off on that. You ought to like it.
I kind of like it. I think it's pretty fun.
My favorite,
and that
my
is
favorite
not
response. My
just-
favorite response to the new intro is when I show it to people and they go,
Yes.
I know it's too good, isn't
Yeah.
it?
When yeah. And then when someone asks us and said, "Hey, how did you get Sam Elliott to do that?" It's not
Close
Sam
personal
Elliott.
it's my
No,
dad.
we love Sam Elliott.
Elliott's my dad.
It okay. It is Sam Elliott. It is Doug's dad, and it's anyway. Hey, reach out to us. Let us know. You can find us on all the social channels and right here where you're watching right or listening right now. We love to hear from you. Reach out to us. Yeah, we're your change agencies. We're change agents. We've been talking about change, and so Doug all of a sudden said, "I've got a story that I want to talk about." So I'm ready.
Okay. Well,
I'm ready.
allow me to preface by saying this. We've done this whole
Please.
series now so far on change, and we're not done. But one of the things is like everything's been heavily theoretical. Like we've talked about incidents and situations in our lives as examples. But one thing we started kind of set out when we outlined this was to have a point where we were going to talk about like especially that conversation we had last summer on our road trip about reinvention and reinventing ourselves. And I wanted to talk about practical aspects of how like you and I, specific things we have done to change, like talk nuts and bolts kind of change.
Mm-hmm.
And I still want to do that, but
all right. So you were talking. This is theoretical. Now it's time to be clinical. Go. Sorry.
No, this is far from clinical.
I'm
but
stop
we'll do
interrupting.
that.
Go ahead.
Yes, please, won't you? Doggone you with the interruptions already. So, we've had engaged in a lot of conversations on and off about change and the perspective of change and the perspective of change, and one of the big arguments that we always have when we've addressed this summit, one of the big arguments I have within myself is this change legitimate? Like you can change a behavior, you can go on a diet and you can lose 10 pounds. But for most people, and for myself, most of my life, right off that diet, gain 20. And that's that roller coaster thing. And that happens, I think, in a lot of life. We want to change something, but the change doesn't stick. The change doesn't last.
Right.
And so we don't get time to really believe the change. And that's part of the deal, is that we've talked a lot about every time you do that new behavior, or don't do the old one, you're voting for yourself. You're voting for the new you. And every vote brings that person into the reality. Every vote makes that person real and puts that old person further away from you. You build that distance. The road lined with corpses, we talked about, I think. And so I'm always examining myself because of, well, lots of scriptural things we may speak of, but for whatever reason, I'm examining myself because that's kind of my predisposition. What I'm trying to learn not to do is to use that information against myself. Like to take the information I derive from examining myself and use it, put it toward change, not just knocking myself down. That perpetual self-criticism that transplants, takes the place of real change. Because it's easier to sit and complain about myself and run myself down. So I'm trying to break that habit. Part of this thing that we've talked about that I'm really struggling with is this creating a new inner dialogue or monologue that is positive and is not self-destructive. Because I want to learn how to love myself in a healthy way that's not arrogant, boastful, prideful, but in a real way. This is like we talked a minute ago before we came on air about this idea about selfishness and pride and should you take care of yourself, just all the self-love talk we hear. Like on the surface, it like flies in the face of scriptural, because everything scriptural is about put yourself last, put everyone else first. But what self-love is talking about is not unscriptural, because it is that you need to take care of you or you can't take care of anybody else. You can't fix anybody if you're busted. You got to get healed first before you can take healing to other people's. The stick in your eye, the mote, the beam, and all that. You know, hey,
plank in your eye.
Hey, I don't want to preach a sermon here. I want to tell you a story. So I'm always looking and I'm examining it because I want my change to be legitimate. I don't want to fool myself into thinking I've changed something and really I'm just changing the surface level. I've learned a new behavior, I've learned a new habit, and so I can do that repetitively, but it's not a real change at the base of myself. Something that happens differently that makes me go, say what? What you talking about, Douglas? So here's the story, and it's a zero story. It means nothing to anybody, but man, does it mean something to me. I had an experience.
It's meaningful. Let's hear it.
I had an experience the other night I have never, ever, ever had in my life. And I was completely alone, and it wasn't sinful. Just wanted to throw that in.
This is getting interesting. Go ahead.
I think. So, Saturday night, I do my little clown at the airwaves karaoke show. My personal superstar hour. And so I did that, and that was all fine. And I got done, and I was still here alone. There was nobody here. Mom and Jackie weren't back from shopping or anything, and so I just had the house to myself. And everything was done, and got what was left of my drink, and went out and sat on the couch, and there was nothing to do. I'm like, well, I had some internet trouble that night. I wasn't sure. It had been kind of breaking up, and I'm like, well, I'm going to check that and see, because I don't know. I may have been just nothing going out. So I started watching. The video broke up, but the audio was fine all the way through. And I started watching. It was awkward and embarrassing. And I'm like, I'm like, why are you so bothered by this? You know who you are. You know what you do. You know this because you just did this. Why is this embarrassing? There's not even anybody here. You're just embarrassed because you're always seeing yourself through everybody else. You're always trying to look through everybody else's goggles at you. And you're imagining that somebody would see this and think such and such, and somebody would see this and think such and such. That's what you're doing in your head. That's what's making you feel awkward. And by that time, I wanted to turn it off. I didn't want to watch it. I was like, well, just leave it on. And so I sat there watching this. And I'm watching it. And it's going on. You know, it is what it is. This was not an exceptional show. It was just what it is. And at some point, I'm watching and I'm singing, and I'm just like, I am so in love was that? I've never felt that before. I loved me.
So you were
Just
proud of what you'd put out?
nah, it was just
You proud of what you become?
that that moment, that idiot singing his heart out. And I loved him
Yeah.
at that moment just for doing that, not for being good, for being perfect, not for being me. It was like it wasn't me. It was that real. I've never had a feeling like that for myself before. Sorry. Eh. And I sit
No.
there and it happened again. And it was like, then I had to stop because then I was crying and praying and going, well, that's a weird end to Karaoke Wonderland. Luckily, not on air, but I
Yeah.
felt it. It was like something hit me. I told Jackie it like took me. She was trying to wait to tell me her story, and I was trying to wait for the moment to tell her. It felt like something moved. It felt like a real change. Something shifted on a base level there.
And so you felt like you thought differently about yourself
Yeah.
than you had before.
I've never looked at myself and thought I've tried as an affirmation, that sort of thing. I love me and I'm a good.
Yeah.
I've never from my heart. And there were probably like two or three. Like I said, when it initially happened, it freaked me out because I'm like, what was that? Because it was just I wanted to hug me. I told her like I wanted to go hang out with that guy. Feelings I've never felt toward myself ever. So it kind of freaked me out a little.
So you experienced legitimate change.
I think so.
Yeah.
It was something that I went like, okay, we just like almost like going over a speed bump or something. It's like, okay, I felt that.
Yeah.
That was real, like down to the core. Like something kind of shuddered and went, whoa.
So we talked about probably a few weeks back about one of the things that we said was we do the things we do because of the way you think about it, or you do the things you do because of the way you think about you. And I think intentionally that was brought up on a more negative sense, that you do the bad things you do because you think badly about yourself. But that is also a positive thing. You do the good things that you do because of the good that you think of you. What are some, here's my question, I guess, what are some good thoughts or some feelings or some things that you feel like that you can do because now you see yourself and you think about yourself in a different way?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure how fully in touch I am with that. Because it's like, it was a thing and it kind of happened fleetingly, and I still look at it and go, man, that was weird. Of all the weird stuff that's
So
happened
you
recently,
need
that was a big weird.
yeah, you need more.
What it
You need a
has,
little bit more experience in that.
and I think I will have it. Here's what it has done for me
Okay.
is it's kind of opened
Good.
my eyes to a much bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that this is what do you want to call it? A model, a type for my whole life. This is what I learned in that moment. As long as your first consideration is how everyone else perceives you, you're trapped in fear.
Yep.
And that's the only thing
100%.
holding you back. Everything you ever wanted is on the other side of fear. This is the home of fear. And this is how we back fear down.
Yep.
In this situation, this is what it's all about. I tried explaining this to Andy about the karaoke thing. I'm like, look, you don't see it for what it is. You think I'm out here trying to get people to watch me sing, and I don't care. This is training, and I'm not sure what I'm being trained for. But it seems like the training is about being able to do this without my ego. because your ego is interference. It's always holding you back. And when you're singing, what your ego is telling you is worry about what all these people are thinking about you.
Mhm.
And it's pulling you back. And it's pulling you back because that's what your ego does. It offers resistance.
Yep.
What I'm learning to do is to sing without that. When I can get past the ego, I'm past what people think, then I have that experience where it's me and me.
Yep.
And then it goes from being about me overcoming fear to being like a big love fest. If I can just get past that fear.
This
And
is so funny.
that-
It's like we've talked about this already.
So many times. So many ways.
No. It's like I've got notes. Remember I said a few moments ago, I said I took some notes
Yeah.
and then I said I'll save this. It's like you were, did I send those to you in my sleep?
You heard about this Holy Spirit thing, right? He's not different and all that.
Because all right,
that's-
because you said a couple things. When you're ready, I want to touch on a couple things you said. Go
I'm
ahead. Sorry, I
babbling
hope I
now. Like I
interrupt.
said, I'm trying to
I
make
gotta stop
sense.
doing that.
I'm trying to make sense of something that didn't make sense to me. So I'm just rambling because I'm like, I don't even know what
All
to
right.
make of that.
So
That's what I'm left with.
here's the two things that you said that immediately, when you said, first of all, you said you're in training for something. You're training for something. And then you said that you're what is it? You said it about yourself. No, I have to go back and listen. You said something about yourself, almost working for yourself or competing against yourself. What was it you said just a few moments ago? Rewind the tape. I can't even remember. But anyway, so here's the two things. Those two things okay. First of all, I was listening to somebody talk about what Paul wrote in Corinthians about run the race. And we run the race. We won the race. Whoa, crazy wabbit. We run the race to win, not to finish, but to win. And then I'm like, okay, then can everyone win? And the answer to that is yes, because we're not racing against each other. Guess who we're racing against? You're racing against yourself. You're racing against the circumstances that come at you in life. That's what you have to win. And then it says, he talks about training. And a good athlete trains. And here's where it gets really neat is we don't try anymore. Quit trying. Because trying is attempting to be something that you're not. Training is working on the skill that you know that you need to win. And so you train. These are things that are on my notes. I can send them to you right here. I'm looking at them right now. Stop trying and start training.
So
that's the thing.
we read the Bible every morning. Like last week started 1 Corinthians.
And you were reading that in there, right?
Yeah. That's what I was
Winning
looking
the
up.
race.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the same stuff we've been reading. Here's what he says to me.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if this is chapter 4 or chapter 5, but this punched me in the ass. Paul and this, I don't know what, I've got the U Bible there, whatever your church puts out. I don't know what translation this is, but I like, because some of it's like really cuts through the nonsense. And he says, I don't care what any of you think about me. I don't even care if you send me to court and they put me in jail. This is who I am. And I'm like, oh, Paul don't give a shit. That's my thing. It's like always, I told my wife, like the thing that stuck to the big turd, the biggest was like, everybody thinks I'm nuts. Nobody believes this. This is so illegitimate. You think this, you're doing this thing for God. You're not. You're just making this thing up. And it's like, yeah. Remember that one guy? I called him up one day and said, hey, go marry a prostitute, lay on your side naked for 2 years and cook your food over human. How much flack do you think he took? How many of his friends went, this isn't in the Bible? You can't do this. I'm like, there's no precedent for the thing you got me doing. But that's okay. I'm fine with that. I don't need to be in the mainstream. But man, this is nutty. This is crazy. And like the things
Yeah.
that he showed me this week about this, like that thing and the thing the other night, like I said, seeing myself and like actually feeling,
Yeah. Yeah.
feeling affection toward myself.
Right.
Dude, that's so weird. It was, I mean, it was awesome. I don't mean anything bad, but it was so alien
Yeah.
and unusual. And it was like,
Well, that's good.
that's the whole game. Like, don't lose your focus and think this is about you, because it's not about you. It's about getting you where you're supposed to be. And
Right.
this is like I'm
That's
like
where the
looking-
training comes in.
Well, we did like the final hurdle is me, and I got to get over myself. And it's like he's going, this is the final hurdle. It's not you. It's your fear.
Dude, listen, if you're an athlete running a hurdle race, is there ever a final hurdle?
I don't know.
No.
I just look at hurdles and they
You
terrify
just
me. I don't
get
know how
better.
anybody gets over one.
You just get you you just get better at getting over them. That's what winning the race is about. It's not about you don't want the race ends when we're gone. We're dead. We're off this planet. We either win or we don't win. And when we win, it's because we got out of life what God wanted us to have. I feel like that's the win.
Nice. I like that.
And it's not because we came in, and it's not because I beat you, Doug. It's not because you beat this other guy.
You get no bragging
It's
rights for
because
beating me.
it's because it's because you got out of life what God really wanted for you. You won the race, but you have to train. And when you train, there's no last hurdle. It's hurdle after hurdle.
Yeah.
And you go to bed and you wake up and you learn to get over more hurdles, and you trip over one every once in a while. And you're like, dang it. And then you get up and you just keep going because you train. And here's what I like about your story earlier that's not in this recording that we talked about when you said you had to pick out your clothes to go to the karaoke that night. And you were trying to figure out, what am I going to sing? What am I going to wear? Blah, blah. No. I did say that. And I apologize.
No, it's true. That's how I feel.
But here's
I'm
the
like,
thing.
When
Here's
I'm
where
standing,
that.
I'm like, what are you doing?
No. But here's the thing. Here's where that fits in. Here's where that fits in. When you're training, you get the stuff, right? If you decide you're going to be a runner, you're not going to try to be a runner. You're going to train to be a runner. And then what do? You get the shorts, you get the shoes, you get the hat,
And
you
there's
get the
been
iPod, you get
a
the fanny pack, you whatever.
ridiculous-
You had to pick exactly what it was you were going to do the training in. You had to put on your uniform or whatever it was, whatever you're training. You had to put on your jersey. That's it. All just meshed together. It's so funny.
Dude,
I'm
if
sorry.
you- no,
Sorry. I'm so excited about how this is all pulling
Nothing
together.
To be
This is
sorry.
crazy.
Like I
It's
said,
stupid.
if you knew how ridiculous that kind of stuff has been, like
Yes.
stuff where at the moment I went, well, I'm gonna do this. It's like, oh, well, in that case, here's this. Well, I told you the first time we did this, she wanted to go to Jeff City. I'm like, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm gonna do this. I hadn't told anybody about going to karaoke Sunday night because I knew if I said it, I'd have to do it. And I don't know why I feel that way, but I feel that way about so many things in life. Like, I can't tell you this because if I say it, I'm going to have to do it. I'll have to live up to it. And I hadn't said anything, but I was like, what am I going to wear? We walked into that Goodwill, and it's like, they never have shit that fits me. And here's like a bunch of stuff. And now I've got new shirts to wear. Well, one of my big things was like, man, I don't have anything like that. And I don't have any like nice jewelry. I don't have anything like that. And like, you send me that giant box full of your mom's jewelry. And like, to you, it's a joke, but to me, it's like, that's an answer to prayer. Because I don't need expensive real jewelry. I'll tear that shit up. I just want something I can wear to like look nice out once in a while when I go out to do one of these.
I didn't really mean it as a joke. I really thought you'd appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it wasn't meant like to you. It's like it's sending him the
Right,
shit,
yeah.
because it's going in the garbage if I have to deal with it. So he'll have fun.
Right.
And
I figured if
did.
someone else could have fun with it, good.
I still have fun with it, like I said, and it's like it's such a huge hoot to me. How many things like going down the line preparing for this, and I wasn't prepared for it. This has been something in the back of my mind, but once I started like striking the flint and going, well, I'm gonna do this, and it's like, well, okay, well, here's this. Well, I don't have, well, here it is. Now you do. So there went your excuse. Guess you're still on. Guess you're still going. You know, the last week when I was making all the excuses trying to get out of it, was like, nope.
okay, I'm gonna ask you a wrap up question here because we're almost out of time.
Oh no.
And here's the one thing that's in my notes that I didn't finish up is that life is not a fun run. You know, when Paul talks about we run the race, we run to win. This is not a fun run 5K where we're just out to have a good time.
Yeah.
But so often we look at life as just flippantly to just like, you know what? As long as I'm having fun, it's all great. Yeah, but you know, there's I think there's a mix somewhere. We have to find a middle ground of like, if we struggle with anxiety or we struggle with depression, that's how those are the hurdles that we win the race with.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, have fun with it. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the race,
Get your Hutter out
because
on.
real athletes, they like, yeah, real athletes enjoy what they do. They love, you talk to these guys, they love to play football. That's all they want to do. They want to play football. They want to run, or they want to play hockey or whatever. They enjoy it. There's wins and there's losses and there's ties all the time. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. But I can't think that we can look at life as just a fun run, that we're just like, having fun as long as I'm doing it. Anyway, that
what
was
I
just
did.
something else that was on my notes.
That's what
But
that's exactly what I did for
so
years. That got
in
me where
all
I'm
of
at.
this, going back to the beginning, what is the one takeaway from this that someone else can go, yeah, I can grab that and try to implement that in my training? What is one thing after what we talked about here
I'm
and
not
what you discovered
exactly
that night you were
sure
watching yourself?
how to implement it, but yes, that it one of the big negatives in life, almost inevitably for me when I make a list of negatives, is expectation. And
Ah,
when you're looking at yourself through the eyes of other people, it's another form of expectation. It's more bullshit than regular expectation because regular expectation might have something built on it. When you are looking at yourself through someone else's eyes, you're never looking at yourself with the love and kindness and caringness that they have. You are looking through the most
that's it.
critical segment of their eyeball. It probably doesn't
That's
even
it.
really exist. They may not use it, but you will. You will make them the most critical, hateful, cynical person version of themselves that you can, and
Right.
you'll grind yourself with it. If you can avoid that, that's great. The thing that I would like to encourage anyone who has dealt with or is dealing with what I'm dealing with, which is kind of the ongoing conversation that we've had, which is how do you, after a lifetime of being a negative, cynical person who doesn't like themselves, how do you turn that boat around? And that has been a daunting task. And I ain't even sure that I should, and I won't lay any claim to any of the turning. I only know that something turned. And it wasn't something I did or something I accomplished. It was something I persevered, and there was a moment of realization. And it was the moment right after I got past what everybody else was thinking or what I was imagining everyone else was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, sitting in that living room, feeling uncomfortable and awkward in my own living room, watching myself was like, that's weird. And realizing that the reason that that was because I was trying to do that looking through other people's eyes. And then I went, well, that's silly. And just kind of let it go. I didn't trouble over it. I didn't puzzle on it. I just went, well, that's dumb. And went back to watching myself without that, me
Yeah.
experiencing that. And just the joy of the moment. It wasn't any specific thing. I did a great. It was just like there was a moment where I connected with myself, and it
Yeah.
wasn't about me or anything other than, man, that guy's having the best time. He loves
That's
what
it.
he's doing
That's
right
it.
now, and I love
Yeah.
watching him do it so much. I want to be in there doing it with him. Hey, that's me, and that's not possible. So it was that. All I can say is hang in there, man. There have been so many times I've wanted to like call somebody up or something. Mozo and all of his love yourself and love you, and I just want to call him and go, how? Tell me how.
Yeah.
Lay it out. How do you go from hating yourself forever and go, you turn, now I love me. Like I said, we've talked about all the affirmations and stuff, and I've been trying to do that
Yeah.
again too. I don't think it was any of that. Like I said, it was just that moment of connection where I saw me with my eyes, not
But
through someone else's.
there was something in play way before that, though, I think. And we don't know what that
Almost
is, and you
certainly.
haven't been
No.
able to put your thumb on it yet, maybe. But I think there's something in play before that, and your humility. is admirable. But you are the captain of a ship that has a crew. Yes, you did turn that ship. You didn't do it alone, but you made that turn.
I
You
struck
weren't
the flint.
alone, but there were other people there. Yes, there were other people there who helped that turn complete and watched out for your flank, watched out for your bow,
Yeah.
whatever. God helped you as well, but you were the captain of that ship. And yes, even though you've
And
bathed that in humility, yes, you did turn that.
the
You did.
moment of change and everything, like everything was at that moment. Everything culminated at that moment. And yeah, some of
Yeah.
that was me, and some of it was the struggle for change, and some of it's everything that's been going on. And it was just like I said, it was that perfect storm. So yeah, I don't mean that. I just there wasn't a moment where I went, oh,
I know.
I'm gonna turn the wheel. It was just like, whoa, what happened? We're here now. That worked
Yeah,
out.
you realize that you're starting to get back on course to where you should be, and you realize,
Yeah.
hey, what's going on? I like this is good. This is good. Oh man, this is good stuff. We got to end though. I'm so sorry that we do, but we're going to continue this next week. Hey, listen, if you're out there and you find yourself in a struggle and you want to change, we're here for you. Really, really, we are.
Hey,
And I'm
hey,
getting all emotional now.
hey.
Hey, you had yours
You're
at the
in.
you had
You're
yours at the
in.
top of the
You
hour.
are
You
in
stop
my
it.
lane, sir.
You
You are
stop it.
in my lane.
You stop it.
Get back over there in
Because
the no
I
comment
feel
side.
there's people out there who really want to change. Listen, man, if you're there and you really need to reach out to someone, please, we're here for you. We're on your side. You know where to find us. We're on your side. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again.